What's up, my friends in film fandom? Wherever you might be, however you may be watching, thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. I got kind of tweaked out there because for some reason I've had this problem a few times. The music's not playing in my headphones, but it's playing on the stream. But as long as you guys can hear that radical music that I clearly wrote and produced and played all the instruments myself for you guys, that's fantastic how that works out. But yeah, we are here to talk about it's a movie that Jeremy put on my radar a while back, and I'm kind of glad that he did. It's always good to see someone take the leap into filmmaking, and Markiplier, who is a very famous person, YouTuber, kind of is, got me thinking that maybe I should get on the fucking stick and get my own movie made since he tried it. And interesting results. Here to talk about it with the people who brought this thing to my attention anyway, starting with my head of life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
Well, as you can see, obviously I've got the ocean of blood behind us. Obvious. It's amazing how many, with just like 8 colors I have on this thing, I can make it all atmospherically to the conditions of the movie we're watching. So, yeah, let's take a dive into this fucking ocean of blood here. I'm excited, and I agree with you. It's like people like, someone I get like if I ever listen to Kevin Smith and he starts talking about movies and getting all passionate and shit, I get all revved up. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to make a movie. God damn it. I know that shit's hard to do. I know it's not easy, but I'm like, God damn it, I want to make something. And something like this, like just some goofy YouTuber from Cincinnati, which again hits pretty close to home for us. I'm like, that's cool. That's a really cool thing to like, just again, some goofy dude I was watching, I think near the start of when he started YouTube, right? Like 2012. I found this guy. To now watching him like make his own like movie put out there, like that's a crazy arc, and I love it. I'm here for it.
You can tell Jeremy is very excited to talk about this movie because before I could even introduce his better half, he just breaks right into his review. Speaking of which, is his better half, Miss Rachel. What's going on, girl?
Hello. I'm doing well. I am excited to review this movie. Yes. I've also been watching Markiplier for a long time, so I'm excited to get into it.
And joining us at some point will be the Brooding Gamer. He's going to be in here in a little bit. We're looking forward to getting his thoughts on it as well. But let's get right down to the nitty-gritty. We are here to talk about The Iron Lung. It is a 2026 American science fiction horror film written and directed by Mark Fischbach, who is also known by his online alias as Markiplier, in his feature directorial debut based on the 2022 video game of the same name, developed by David Szymanski. The film stars Fischbach, Carolyn Rose Kaplan, Troy Baker, we all know his name, Elsie Lovelock, Elle LaMont, and Seán McLoughlin, as well as Isaac McKee. The plot follows a convict named Simon, played by Markiplier, who is forced to pilot a submarine through a desolate moon's ocean of blood after an event known as the Quiet Rapture caused a majority of humanity and all the stars to disappear without warning. Iron Lung was released in North America on January 30th, 2026. The film has grossed, in my notes it says 18 million. I think it actually got bumped up to 21 million or somewhere around there, against a production budget of just under $3 million. So it's been financially pretty successful. It has received mixed reviews from critics, however. On Rotten Tomatoes, 50% of 12 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 5.4 out of 10. IndieWire's review reads, quote, Iron Lung is an audacious and at times astonishingly boring. Still, it feels more enthusiastic and celebratory than many blockbuster adaptations built on safer math. Insisting that the mission is bigger than any one person, including its creator, it opens space for more daring, messy attempts to follow. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. You've been, now that Brady's here, of course. Yay, Brady's here.
We pulled from the depths.
Direct from the blood oceans on the moon.
He's surprisingly clean. That's amazing how fast
I don't have a red background. What the hell?
I was just thinking the same thing. We all got the motif right, but here comes Brady. Just wanting to screw the whole thing up.
We're all saying.
But
Hold on, I'll work on it. I'm working on it. There we go. Angry fish.
There you go.
There you go.
He's got something. He's got that going for him.
But hanging out here like off to the side.
Well, I'll start with you, Jeremy. Give me your quick thoughts of the movie before we get into the spoiler talk.
Well, if we can talk about that, I mean, somebody is really goddamn mad. I love that. I love hearing all the butthurt people on the internet. I've been seeing so many memes about it. Like IGN is just not about it, which is so funny, and trying to just tear this shit down. Look, I enjoyed this movie again. I watched the game, I think, when he first played it a couple of years ago. And then rewatched it again, I think yesterday or something after we watched the movie on the weekend, but watched the game again. And I think you hit it pretty spot on. Like, I mean, it's cool taking enough lore from just, a little indie game and making it into a full-blown movie. My comparison is something like, you take like a couple minutes of an SNL skit and you can make a whole fucking movie of, the Blues Brothers out of it, right? Or fucking Wayne's World, Night at the Roxbury, something like that. And obviously, like I said, him being Mark has definitely got the passion and the drive to make this movie. I was watching as he was making updates and stuff and still doing his typical YouTuber stuff. Hearing him talk about it, it's like that's what got me so excited. I think he fucking nailed it. I think it was really cool. I wish it would just be like people were like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's not supposed to. Like, if you watch the game, it might give you a little more, or like, that should be your intrigue. Is like, I think it was for a passion project, pretty well fucking done. And I will get into the effects, I'm sure, and some of the visual stuff, but holy crap. I'm not saying I'm a Markiplier fanboy, but I'm just saying it was pretty goddamn cool.
No, you don't sound like that at all. Rachel, let's go to you next. Give me your quick thoughts of the movie.
I enjoyed it. I do have to say that I a little bit agree with IGN when they say it was a little long-winded in a way. There were some parts that were a little slow for me, just as a more casual moviegoer. But I did enjoy the movie overall. I think the plot was very interesting. The premise of the whole thing was really interesting. I found the idea of all the stars being burnt out and having to go to this moon and then in this big ocean of blood. The whole premise of that is very fascinating to begin with, and having to maneuver through and looking for things. That's a very interesting premise. So I enjoyed that, the plot of the movie quite a bit.
Brady, how about you? You were part of a cadre of people that all went to see this movie the other night. Give me your quick thoughts of the movie, and then we'll get into the spoiler talk.
What the fuck? I mean, you could tell that this was like, watching Mark over the years, you could see how important this particular project was to him. And while I do agree definitely with Rachel and IGN that, there was a lot of moments that I'm kind of like, we could have cut this out of the film, and it just wasn't really needed. Like a lot of his little psychological breakdowns, I feel like we could have cut some of those out and we would have been fine. But you could tell like this was definitely his baby, and he put a lot of I would say this is probably one of the biggest stepping stones for indie film. Like the show that, just a simple guy from Cincinnati can produce, there you go, can produce such a massive film for like, I don't even know how much it was. How much did he put into it? $1 million?
$3 million, I think, was the final budget for this.
Okay. And I've seen films with well over a budget of that and still not be good. I do think it was.
Said help, Sam Raimi. Oh, sorry. Oh, God, I get myself looked at before I go put myself in an iron lung.
Oh, I hate you. But no, really good film. Goes to show that there is always a bigger fish to worry about. I think if you don't know Markiplier, you don't really know much about that kind of stuff. As I've told people, if you don't want to see the movie, just take acid and look at pictures of anglerfish. There you go. You'll be fine. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought this movie was pretty ambitious for someone who has never made a movie before. He's never written, never directed, never acted. He decided to take on all three things. I would have done that. But it took a great deal of ambition. Ultimately, and it's going to sound like I'm shitting on this movie a little bit over the course of this review. I don't really want it to sound exactly like that. I'm just trying to be objective. at the end of the day, the movie was pretty good. The third act really does kind of make up for some of the really slow-paced, droll stuff that happens in the first hour of the movie. Honestly, the third act of this was as good as any like sci-fi horror scary thing I've seen in a long time. The third act is very, very good. And there's some things that Markiplier could have done better, could have done differently. There's some things that he did very, very well, and there's a lot of promise that shows through like if I'm looking at this in a bigger picture, there's a lot of promise that he shows as a filmmaker. And next time he wants to come out with something, I'll definitely give it a look, because I feel like he's got the building blocks of something really good as a filmmaker here, if I'm just being honest. I'm not a huge Markiplier fan. I know who he is. I've watched one or two of his videos. I don't subscribe to him on YouTube, but I know who he is. And again, this is something that Jeremy brought to me, and I was like, it's an interesting concept. The concept alone, if I describe this to you, you'd be like, that's kind of wild, and you'd be interested enough to try to see it. I think it's a good movie overall, but it's really saved by the later part of the films. Let's get into the spoilery talk, though, and Brady, I'll start with you. The plot of the film, stuck in the submarine, you can't see what's going on. Even if you could see out the window, it's a sea of, I guess, blood. I don't know where they would get that much blood at, but I mean, okay, it's a sea of blood. Losing one of the senses is a very, very big deal in a movie, because it makes you feel thrown off as a viewer, which is a great thing to do. Brady, give me your thoughts on the plot of the film. Was there anything you'd have changed, or did it work for you?
Honestly, the only thing I would have changed was just the amount of filler. I think one, not showing is probably one of the best things they could have done. Now, given if you play the games, you don't really see a lot either, other than what you see just like in his camera are these, giant anglerfish skeleton creatures, whatever. I mean, that looks like the creature in the Black Lagoon there, but you just see these horrifying things. That alone, just, when you're in the ocean, that's scary enough. But to have, it's just, I don't know. I think they did really good cutting the sense of sight in a way out, because, all you get is sound, pretty much. You just hear him getting knocked around and these horrible sounds outside. What little sight you do see is stuff rubbing up against the window right as it's closing, and you barely even get to see that. So I am a big fan of monster movies. I do consider this a monster film in a way. They focus heavily versus the game on, they don't really tell you that you're looking for something specific, I don't believe. While this one, they heavily focus on, hey, there's something big down here. Okay, well, now you're going to go track that down. A little angry man in a submarine, because that's going to work out great. I don't know. I think that they did a really good job. It's one of those where maybe not being shown everything is the best. There was a few moments in there where I'm like, okay, this is like a fever dream, which how much of that is him hallucinating from lack of oxygen? Because you notice as he loses oxygen, things just get a little more weird, but they don't even mention oxygen. It's just he's losing his shit. He's hearing voices now. Are they real? Are they not? Half the time the machine's unplugged, so he's talking to apparently a British fish monster, and then all of a sudden everything's back to working again. It's plugged back in. So how much of that is, they did a really good job on the psychological part of this. How much of that is real? How much is not, to the point where you don't even realize, okay, what's legitimately going on. So I think they did a really good job there. But apart from that, yeah, the filler is really the only thing I would cut. Maybe a couple of his, I don't know, just some of his little ramblings. I mean, when he puts his emotion into it, he is really good at putting his emotion into it. The one comment I've seen the most that people are talking about is, if you are a big Markiplier fan, it's kind of hard to tell who was his name, who Simon is, or is it Markiplier? There's some moments where he does a really good job being this guy. You feel the emotion. And then, when I think the comment, and it's my quote, is, "I just want to live." That man is phenomenal at bringing emotion out. But there are moments where, they would bring something up, and he'd be like, "That didn't happen," and I'm like, "Okay, that went real quick." He just flipped moods like a switch. So yeah, filler be pretty much the only thing I cut, but I don't know. He did really good.
Rachel, how about you? Give me your thoughts on the plot of the film. What do you think of it?
I really liked the plot of the film. Yeah, I enjoyed watching him, trying to find all the different things in the ocean that he was, tasked to find, and then following, basically the skeleton anglerfish thing, and trying to figure that out. I agree about the filler, but I think I disagree about what I consider filler versus what Brady considers filler. In a way, I think the psychological rants were more important to the storyline rather than some of the navigational filler. I think that some of the times where he was navigating got excessive. I don't know that we needed to see every point of navigation. That part felt like filler to me. In a lot of points, it just felt like there was a lot of navigating that maybe we didn't need to see all of every moment of navigating. Like, he's navigating to where he's going. I get it. He's doing the navigational things, like different points on the map, sure, like the big points on the map that are important, but I don't need to see him drawing an arrow every 10 seconds multiple times. But that's the only part of the plot that I didn't feel was needed. I also agree with you, Frank, on the third act being the best part. I mean, definitely the climax of the movie was with the best of Mark's acting and everything that happened in the end, with my mind just blanked, sorry, with with everything coming to that climax after he goes back down and he finds out that he may not be able to, he's not going to be able to come back up. Just the way he expressed that in his voice and all of that in the end was really good as well. Overall, I think the plot makes sense and works for me.
Jay, how about you? You are well versed in the game. I'm sure you're going to be making a lot of comparisons to the game as we go through this. Give me your thoughts on the plot. How close was it to the game? And is there anything you would have changed or added?
I mean, I watched him play it. It's not like I've played it, to be fair. What was I going to say? At least somebody else who did see it with me was my own mom, so it's always a plus. Yeah. I would say, there's definitely some good comparisons. I don't know if I have. I think I have. Yeah, I have some comparisons of the cockpit, stuff in the game. Just even the set design, just from such a simple one room space as we've seen, it can work and it can be very effective. I think you nailed just from the look and even the I just found this the picture of the game map, just from the map that he had, and then like we said, the one he drew out eventually, and is one of several navigation scenes. Yeah, it's the meat and potatoes of it is, yeah, you're navigating through this gridded map of okay, you got to get to this point, this point, this point. And every one you got to take a picture of whatever's there. They're all points of interest that you have to figure out whatever it is. So for a plot, yeah, that works out pretty well for me, because not only are the ocean's terrifying, space is also kind of terrifying. So oceans in space, especially blood oceans in space, I mean, you see where I'm going. Good Lord, you don't know what's in the ocean, especially a blood ocean in space. So, and I think I'm glad that Brady had his little jaws there. I'm again, it's effective filmmaking that you can't. Something's more terrifying when you can't see it, and your imagination is what makes the horror. You can't see it because obviously you assume there's still pressure like you would in a normal ocean. And you just have this one little port window, or rather this machine that takes x-rays of the front of your ship to see what's in front of you. So like a thing for a suspense building and for the storytelling, it works out really well. I do, and like I said, I as much as, again, I'm just going to keep, praising all hail the King of the Squirrels, which is a deep cut, or the King of Five Nights at Freddy's for all the younger kids who are now probably in their 20s. It definitely my fucking train of thought just derailed there too. Holy crap. It did slow down in a few spots, like I said, but I think definitely, again, the slow burn of getting to that third act when it just goes off the absolute rails was well worth it. Because, and I'm sure the three of us know, because again, we watch Mark, as we heard that this used, I think, the most amount of like on-screen blood in a movie ever. And Mark almost lost his damn vision making this movie. And I'm watching that scene. I'm pretty sure you actually have a picture of it, at least one of them. Yeah, this shit right here, where he's just absolutely drenched in all of this like disgusting visceral blood. And I'm like, yeah, and that shit was getting into his eyes, and he was like really worried there for a couple days. Like, yeah, I can't see, my eye hurts, and it's still burning, and I can't see. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, there's
We're
pictures
talking about
of
like
him
that.
with his eyes. It's horrible.
Yeah, and we're talking about me, like, when I say like, oh yeah, suffer for the art. I'm like, no, this is, again, worth it, suffering for the art. But like I said, I think it hand in hand. I think it's a good comparison, and then you can go like I did, and Rachel Debbie watched the game right after, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty solid. Good jump scare at the end there, because again, these space anglerfish and blood oceans are fucking terrifying, man.
Something that I thought was really dope was how given the game is a lot shorter than what, it's not that long. It really, depending on how long you play. He played start to finish in it, like 45 minutes.
I think this game takes an hour, a little bit less to beat from what I saw.
Yeah. So you gotta have to be like, all right, I gotta add a lot of stuff in here that, one, there's like the scene where he's being stalked by something, and he goes around the corner, and there's like this, I don't know, it looks like one of those monsters from Dead by Daylight or something, where or Dying Light, I don't know, where it's like unhinged jaw, and it just turns and looks at him. There's nothing else about it. There is no mention of it. There's no, hey, there's something down here. It's just, that was it. And I'm like, okay, that was fucking cool. I really like that. That was just like random as hell, and I loved it. Not to mention the blood having this, like, almost like it's alive in a way, where it starts to morph and turn him. So I even leaned over to Jeremy in the film. I was like, was that thing supposed to be him? Because like towards the end of the film, he starts morphing into this thing, and you don't really see it apart from him ripping his own arm off, which goddamn. But like
that was cool.
I was like, okay, that was something I did not expect, and I really do think this was like the perfect finale for a film like this. I do, after hearing Rachel talk, I'm like, damn, she's right. I do agree more with the driving. Like, we get it, vroom vroom. But can we get to the real shit?
Excitement?
We get it in your mom's car, so let's move on.
I disagree with you saying it needs more filler, or that it needed more, that it had too much filler. I think it needed more filler. I think that's what the first half of the movie was missing, because you have to be really careful. And we've talked about video game adaptations of film and TV shows a lot over the last couple of years. The ones that have worked are the ones that have really wild, vivid stories. We've done Last of Us. We're in the process of finishing up season 2 of Fallout. These are really big worlds that have a lot of stories you can tell. This movie, it all takes place in one room, it's been done before, and it's been done well before. But the problem is you really have to accentuate other things. Yeah, to make it work, you really have to put a lot into it. The first part of the movie, I was like, it got to the point where I was like, I need another part of this world to make the smaller, the claustrophobic part inside the sub feel a little more dangerous. So I really thought that what he should have added in was some scenes in the, like, whatever the hell area where they're controlling all this stuff at. You know, you've got the girl who's I had the picture over here somewhere. Lady. But yeah, you have the boss lady who's giving him directions, you know, and stuff like that. Why not show? Yeah, there it is. Why not show some of that control room and the chaos? Why not show what happens when he actually hits the button and shoots out the X-rays and burns the guy and makes everybody sick or whatever he does? Why not show more of that world too? Because the game, I watched a playthrough of the game from start to finish. It was about 50-something minutes. I forget who did it. It wasn't Markiplier. It was somebody else that I found online. And there's not much to it other than just doing the stuff. Now, a game that only takes an hour or less to beat, that's not a whole lot of plot. It's not a whole lot of story to build off of. He really needed to add something in here to expand the world a little bit to get. Look, you had Troy Baker. We heard Troy Baker's voice like twice over the course of this entire movie. You got Troy Baker, use him. I mean, let him be one of the guys that's her lieutenant out there, because I think it's the one. Maybe he's the one you hear arguing back and forth with her over the radio a couple of times.
I think it was that like snarky dude who was like giving him shit.
It's like, why not have that scene on camera of those two having that tense conversation back and forth, and then thrust us back into this claustrophobic area of just being in that little mini sub. Why not do that instead of making the whole thing just the first part of the movie was just taking forever. If you evacuate from there and go on to tell the story of the boss lady and all her people trying to do this stuff, that would have been the kind of filler that it needed. Build a little bit of the world that you don't get in the game, because thematically, being stuck in this one mini sub for the entire game might work, but for a movie or a TV show, it's a different medium. You gotta make some creative changes to make sure that just watching it on screen instead of actually interacting with it and playing the computer game it's going to be a different experience. So you have to expand that world a little bit. What were you going to say, Rachel?
Did they ever go outside of the Iron Lung in the movie at all?
No,
you just saw out.
I mean, all that little trip out moment that he has when he's doing whatever. I mean, kind of, but I mean, but other than that, no.
You saw out the window. That was it.
Yeah, you get that one look out the window at her. That's all you get.
Because I think maybe that was probably a stylistic choice then, not to show things going on outside of it, just to keep that claustrophobia there. I
get it.
Probably a stylistic choice.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. And I respect him trying to be as true to the game as possible. But well, it's like the transition, and I know, Rachel, you read plenty. The translation from book to movie is very different. Right. There are things that the way you tell a story in a book that you can't tell it in a movie.
Yeah.
Everything is descriptive in a book. In a movie, you're just, in the book, they're describing what Hogwarts looks like. In the movie, you just have that establishing shot that comes in from the aerial view and you see it. There's no words that are needed. So the story is told differently. It's the same thing from video games to movies. It's a different way of telling the story. You don't have your hands on the controllers moving this guy around. So the shots that you're putting on there have to help you get what the world is. Just visually, you're not actually able to explore it the way you normally would in a video game. I think that's one of the reasons, the things that really hurt me about the plot was that the first half of the movie, it was just like, okay, here's why he's down here. And then it's an hour of him tinkering with the controls and doing whatever and getting frustrated. And I'm like, can you give me something else? I mean, because that's good for a couple of minutes. It's good for like a tension building scene. But after a while, I'm like, can one of these things just attack him already? I mean, that's kind of what we're here for, isn't it? That was kind of my thought on it. But but again, it's Markiplier's first time out. Maybe he's going to talk to somebody later on that might tell him something like this, how to fill in that dead air. If you're trying to translate something like this into the movie form, and he'll do it and get good at it. Because, like I said, this movie does have a lot of promise overall. Go ahead, Jay.
I was thinking, I think the one thing that was cool was it's slowly, piece by piece, he is getting other things from past expeditions. Like he found the note and he found the thing about crossing the wires, and he went underneath. Because I don't think it happens in the game, as far as I remember. I don't remember the lore update. Him going under the sub and finding, there's more stuff to it that he's like, oh wait, so they've been lying to me. I'm not the first one who's been down here, which we see him discover. He discovers the other shipwreck, and whether he heard somebody or not, that's up for interpretation. But I kind of thought like maybe if those little crumbs kind of help pick up that, they may have used this thing before it was someone else, and now he's just the next unfortunate guy who's been welded into it. I was like, that might be kind of interesting to keep exploring as he, moves about the ship and realizing he can't really do much else. He starts finding the other breadcrumbs left by the other people that were down there. And we kind of had the story about like him when he was a kid. I don't remember the lore update video. We started to watch it. I think we fell asleep. But I don't remember if that was part of it or not. If that was like original for the
I don't
movie.
know. I don't know that it ever properly explains that either. Obviously, or like whatever he did to even be put in jail. It's like obviously something happened at some kind of space station or ship, but I don't think it ever really clearly explains what that was.
And I'm not sure if it was like maybe important enough to. It's just like, well, he's in prison or he was, and now he's here. It's like, okay, glimpses of it, but maybe give me that could have been something you could have shown like a younger version of him and what led him up to that. Just kind of cut into the movie, and it could have like maybe helped his character because you might think like, oh, did he do something wrong, or as he keeps saying, it's like it's not my fault. I did not intend for that to happen, and I'm like, there's something there. I'm like. You could have maybe like seen it framed in one way, and then we finally see like what actually happened with him, and you're like, oh, maybe that wasn't really how it all shaked out. So, yeah.
Now, normally this is the part I would go to something like the cast, but let's face it, there's only really one person in this entire movie. That's Markiplier.
We're talking about the director.
We're going to get there, actually. I have in my notes here the many roles of Markiplier. We'll talk about him as a writer, as a director, and as an actor. Let's talk about him as a writer first. I mean, I'll go to you first, Jay. Writing. His first time writing a movie. I thought overall it was pretty good. Like I said, there's some holes in the storytelling, but I mean, you never get anything the first time you do it, I guess. What do you think of him writing the movie? Was it a good translation from the game to the screen, story-wise for you?
Yeah, so look with the little nuggets of like story there is with the game and the backstory of it. Like I said, which it's an interesting premise to begin with. I mean, it starts and ends with like a opening crawl of here's what happened. All the stars burned out, and there was a quiet rapture, and now you're in this submarine. And then I don't remember what the last screen says, but yeah, for filling it in and making a story out of it, I think it works. And what I would say with acting in this capacity, I'm like, well, it is just him by himself. I'm like, I feel like you can just kind of get into it, just you being you and just kind of reacting to stuff. I've seen behind the scenes footage of like, it's just this big container they put on these hydraulics and just threw him around. I'm like, well, it's not hard to act when you're actually being tossed around in a 9,000 pound fucking steel crate. So, I mean, yeah, I think it works. Also shout out to Amy, who is his now wife, who produced the movie. So thanks, Amy. You're always also helping out behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean,
Chica helped.
All right, fine. Sorry. Also, Mark's dog helped. Did you say Seán McLoughlin? I'm like, that's Jacksepticeye. Where was he in the movie? Because we saw Ethan was in it, and I'm like, wait a minute.
I think he had a voice part, a small voice part.
Oh, okay. He should have come on the speaker and just say, hey, top of the morning to you, dude. I'm like, okay. Like, there he is. Okay, I totally missed that Jack was in it. I saw Ethan was in it. Even Lixian had a hand in it. Mark's editor, who's been his editor for a long time. So yeah, and I'm assuming Mark did all this himself. But again, I'm never gonna, like we've all probably said here, I'm not gonna, down on somebody who went out to try to make something creative. And I know it's not easy. I'm sure any of us here probably know this. I'm like, making a movie is not a fucking easy thing to do, especially when you're, the writer, director, producer, the cook, the fucking janitor. You know what I mean? He did a lot of this heavy lifting. So I think for the effort, pretty solid. I'm not saying I know what the hell to do. I don't have the fucking like patience to write something. I could if I really wanted to, but I'm like, I don't know, film something and like we'll just kind of make it work. And like, I'm a visual person, so maybe that's just me. I'm different. I'm not like other girls. I'm like, I just want to see it and then like make a script that way because I'm a fucking weirdo. I don't know. But weirder things.
Yeah, all it
happen.
said, Seán McLoughlin just has him credited as Jack, so I'm guessing it was just another one of the voices you heard.
He's just Jacksepticeye. Okay, I don't know.
It just had him labeled as
Jacksepticeye
Jack.
confirmed.
Not
He's
even,
in
not
it.
even, not even Jacksepticeye. Just Jack is his character in the movie. So probably
That's hilarious.
But
Okay.
yeah, whatever. He was in the movie. I wasn't. So all credit to him. But I don't know, Rachel. What do you think? What do you think about his first foray as a writer?
As a
Since
writer,
you actually write,
I
that's
do.
a better question for you.
I do write.
I'm a big
Dabble
dumb.
in the
visual.
writing. I think writing wise, it was pretty good. I mean, I don't know much about movie writing or any of that, but I think it was written well. I think that it flowed pretty well. I really don't have much to say on the writing of it, to be honest.
One man.
Well,
one cinema.
I mean,
Well, I'll go on. Well, I think we kind of talked about the writing a little bit as we were talking about the plot. Anyway,
Yeah.
So maybe we kind of blew it all then. But I don't know, Brady, give me some quick thoughts. Markiplier as a writer, what did you think?
Well, little fun thing, and I mean, again, if you don't really watch Mark, you wouldn't know it. He kind of has filmed some movies. He did 3 very large projects on his channel that were, I would say, kind of new for YouTube. These like you choose your own path kind of videos.
In space with Markiplier.
In Space with Markiplier, Who Killed Markiplier, and then another. I think there's a.
wasn't there a Valentine's Day one?
Yes, A Date with Markiplier.
There was a
Date with
third.
Markiplier, yeah.
And I mean,
David
some of them
Markiplier.
had some ridiculous actors. Like there'd be like I think there was one big actor that just randomly shows up. And I mean, it's fun because I mean, you could sit there for hours and try to figure out the right path. But he's definitely. I mean, when people say, "Oh, it's his first time acting," I mean, you kind of act every time you're on camera. Just doing you. Again, coming back to that, like when you're watching the movie, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between Mark and Simon sometimes. But I think he's a phenomenal writer. I mean, I'm excited to see what he can do on his own. I mean, again, we've got those 3 big projects that he did on his channel that were all, his writing. And seeing as how with this, he used a lot of the, what he already had. With this game, and I'm sure he worked with the creator of the game alongside, filming this and all that, and writing. But it makes me excited to know he's probably, I think he has said already he wants to do more, but his own work. So we get to see like an even bigger chance to see what his writing can really bring to the table. Even though I think he's a phenomenal writer, just with the projects he's already done. So. I think he did a fantastic job writing the parts that weren't already part of the game.
I'm pretty sure the guy who made the game was in the movie. I think he was that guy that kind of gave him the stink eye in the mirror or that window before they shut it. I was like,
I think it was
the guy who got.
I think it was
the guy who made the game was in it. Yeah, pretty sure.
Let's see. Additionally, David Szymanski cameos the fictionalized version of himself.
Sure.
That's all it says. I don't know why you would need someone who developed a video game, but whatever. I mean, hey, he was in it. He wrote it. That's good. But yeah, I mean, like I said, writing. I thought he did a good job of adapting what there was in the video game to the screen. I just wish he would have filled it in with a little bit more world building in the first part of the movie. But I mean, like I said, the last act was really good all around. I mean, writing, directing, everything, the whole thing was very well done. So I think the third act really does kind of save the movie, and I think a lot of that does come down to him at least writing the third act very, very well. Let's talk about him now as a director. I mean, like I said, the first time you do something, you're usually pretty bad at it. But I got to admit, it's really, really hard to have one person in one room for an entire movie and have it be really compelling. It's not easy, but overall, I think he did a good job of conveying everything about this. I'll go to you first, Rachel. What do you think about the job he did directing the film?
I mean, I think for his first time, he did a really good job. I mean, everything seemed to go really well. He seemed to I feel like the environment that he created for this film was pretty powerful. He really created a good environment for the game, for the movie, from the movie that reflected the game, is what I mean. And I feel like he definitely brought it all together really well with directing it.
Jay, I'll go to you next. What do you think about his first shot at directing?
Like I said, over the course of this, being announced and being kind of dropping tidbits of his videos that he would put out, like I said, he seemed to know like what he was trying to do and trying to make. He sounded like, I'm first one there, I'm the last one to leave. You know what I mean? Trying to put all the pieces together, and like I think he got like she was saying, the atmosphere of the game, the kind of feel of it, the claustrophobia, even the psychological bits, not only just from Mark, but from the world that's seemingly around him that, again, you can't see. It's like you have to bring that out. And it's like, I mean, again, something's terrifying when you can't see it. So like your own mind fills something in. Like that could be something different from me, that it could be for her, it could be for Brady, it could be for you. So I think getting that vision out there to how the game feels, like the same, terrifying, like even just visual cues of like I was gonna mention, like the little dial on the panel, when you can just see like something beeping. It's, again, I'm gonna keep comparing to Jaws. It's like every time you see the barrels pop up, you're like, oh shit, here comes the shark again. It's like something's there and you're like, what is it, what's going on? And it just builds that dread and that little bit of suspense of waiting for hitting the button and seeing what's out there. Is like, is it nothing? Is it a skeleton? Is it a big, big fish? As Liam Neeson said, there's always a bigger fish. I'm sure we've made that joke several times. I'm pretty sure I named that one picture over there. There's always a bigger fish. So, yeah, pretty solid. Because, like I said, I'm not sure. Yeah, bones are important, right? See, there's little Markiplier things where I'm like, yeah, there he is. He's making his little jokes. That's a thing, right? Can I go home now? Like. Or I think my line was almost, don't mind me, I just want to go home. I'm like, that's a very Mark thing to say during like a horror game. But as I was finishing up saying, I've never directed a movie, so I mean, that's pretty solid. I mean, like I said, I would look like I was on 2006 YouTube, some shaky cam that I don't understand how to fucking like focus a shot, and it's gonna be, sound's gonna be crap, you know what I mean? So he brought it all together into a pretty cool little film that made some gangbusters. I've said this so many times, and I know we've said it. You can do a whole lot with not a whole lot at all, and that can mean, again, anything from budget, like I said, to the visual stuff, the audio cues, just simple stuff. So solid.
Yeah, Brady, how about you? What do you think of Markiplier, the director?
I think he did good. To put it lightly, or to put it bluntly, I think he did really good. I personally think it's got to be kind of difficult to direct and be the main character all at the same time. I'm sure some people would say, no, that's probably the easiest thing about being I don't know. I just, I feel like at least only you know how you want something to look on camera. So like, you can tell 100 different actors, I want you to do this, this, and this, and it still only be better. It still be in your head better than what they could do. So in a way, it's like, I really want to portray this character. I want this character portrayed this way. So I'm going to portray that character that way. So I think having that step up as a director and actor at the same time is really good. I still think, and as Jeremy even said, he was the first one there and first one or last one to leave. So a lot of extra work. But I think he juggled it all fairly well and still did everything he could to make sure he had content on his YouTube channel as often as possible, even if it was just an update to let you know, hey, I'm still alive. Sorry, I haven't been able to do anything. So, I mean, credit to the guy who I don't think he takes a sit or a seat for anything. He's up moving 99% of the time and probably only sleeping long enough to literally, set an alarm for 20 minutes and then get back up and work for another 32 hours straight.
Well,
So-
and also casually get married, and then we just kind of dropped that bomb. We're like,
when
when did that
Get
happen?
a wedding in there too, by the way.
Right. Look at him and Amy
yeah.
got married last year. We're like, oh, when did that happen? Cool,
He's
thanks for
probably
letting us
one
know,
of
man.
the busiest people I've ever seen in terms of like he's always trying to keep things moving. I don't think he ever takes a break, hardly at all. And when he does, we still get content letting us know how we're doing while he's on his break. Like, it's just so a lot of props to him for juggling as much work as he did and still directing and producing. He didn't produce, directing this amazing film, honestly.
And remember, he
Yeah,
could have been an engineer.
BJ thinks for his first time out he did well, so you got BJ's seal of approval. First time out, it was a pretty good job overall. I mean, it's again, you're talking about one actor in a very small space for like 99.9% of the film. That in and of itself is going to be very difficult to do. I mean, you were asking Markiplier to do something that basically Tom Hanks did for most of Castaway, being the only person on screen for an hour and a half. And it's like, it's like you're asking a lot to put yourself at Tom Hanks level your first time out. And while he didn't quite get there,
over a fucking volleyball. That's some bullshit acting right there. While he didn't quite get there, I mean, dude, I got to give the guy flowers for his effort. I mean, it was not a bad effort at all for his first time out. Look, the tension that he builds is very, very good. He could, like, even small things like the set design. It's like you can't just like put up, a cardboard box and paint it with some stuff and make it look like it's metal. I mean, the interior of this sub. I got a picture of somewhere in the cockpit. It looks pretty. It looks very good. It's not overly done, but it's got solid details. I mean, if you look at the details there and on the control panel and all that, to the detail that is in the in the bottom left hand corner, that's actually from the picture of the cockpit from the game. The detail is actually really, really good. So there was a certain amount of minimalism, but still strong detail and stuff that kind of catches your eye and really does kind of suck you into the location itself. And again, he got everything he could out of the story. I mean, he did a great job with that. I think as a director for the first time, he did a really, really good job. And that's one of the reasons why I'm interested to see what he does moving forward. Because if he can work on, like I said, some of the writing stuff, I think he's got a lot of the building blocks in place to do some pretty cool stuff in movies. Now, he's not going to direct a Marvel movie or anything like that. That might be asking a lot. I'm not going to put him up into that atmosphere yet. But I mean, to give him bigger and bigger projects and just kind of let him grow as a filmmaker, he can do some really wild shit. Let's talk about him now in the one area where I'm pretty sure we're all going to gush over him, and that's how he did acting in this movie. As an actor, I'll go to you first, Jay. How do you think he did being the essentially the sole star of the film? Oh, I thought we were all gushing over the fact that Mark took his shirt off in the movie and everybody lost their fucking minds.
Well,
I know they
I
did.
didn't.
I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth.
No.
Sure.
I sat
you were
next
there
to him in the
too.
theater. I did hear at least once.
Oh, did you feel me like just shifting my chair a little bit? Yeah. Did my little Sharon Stone just cross my legs the other way? That's a reference for the kids. Yeah. Again, like I said, I know we're just talking, Mark, but like we said, he did most of the stuff and like trying to break down like the difference between being the writer or the director. As far as acting, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with some of you guys. I'm like, it is a little bit hard to try to disconnect myself from like, I've watched Mark since 2012. I'm like, I've just seen
Mark being goofy, doing stuff on YouTube, doing horror games, doing some serious, games, some stuff like that. Doing I kind of had to mention Una's Honest, and if you know, you know. So it's out there still. So stuff like that. But it's like I know he's got it. Like Brady said, it's like you are technically like acting, like when you're even still, he is just him, when he's doing YouTube. So I'm like, yeah, it's. I was trying to disconnect myself from the fact that I'm like, it's Mark. I'm watching Mark. I feel like I'm watching actual, like, doing some Oculus thing. I'm in the thing watching this, experience of him living out this game. But there was there was still enough of a draw there that I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm still intrigued. I'm pulled in by this story through his acting. Like, for example, the Woman in Black, the first movie like Daniel Radcliffe did after Harry Potter. I'm like 30 seconds in, I'm like, it's Harry Potter. Yeah, it's Harry Potter. But at the end of the movie, I was already like, God damn. I was like, okay, no, he's got it. This guy's got it. I made all the jokes, and those went out the damn window like real quick by the end of that movie. I was like, okay, this guy's got some acting chops. I think Mark definitely has that potential. I think even my our person who is our commenting wonder over here. I think my mom gives a good point. Like, when he started, like, the more he started to lose his mind and lose his patience with what was going on, the anger he had, when he basically realized he was kind of screwed, is kind of a good tell. Yeah, that, like, when he's just kind of like he kind of has that mentality of like, yeah, screw it. I mean, what's the point? I'm going to die, right? Like, I think several times that the point of him saying, what's even the point of doing this? And that'll prey on you. Like, again, being the only actor for most of this movie is not an easy task. Like when I mentioned Reservoir Dogs, I'm like, Reservoir Dogs takes place in one place too. I'm like, but you have different characters to bounce off of, right? You've got everyone else coming in when they do or when they die or whatever happens. You get a couple of them to kind of, bounce the story off of. One guy doing it by himself is something else. So I don't know. If it was me, I'm overly critical of myself. I'm like, oh, look, I stepped like 2 inches to the wrong direction. Can I do that again? I'm my own worst critic, so I don't know. And
that comes from a guy who actually does stuff like this for real. I mean,
I know, I was
not in front of a camera, but I mean, you're in the cave for 2-3 months out of the year, so you're kind of in it too. So
I'm like, I know I'm an actor. I know I can. I think doing that, it's like that's more of a live thing. I can't go back and edit it or do another take. It's like that I have to roll with it. So I'm like, I know that I have that, like, go with the flow thing. And doing this too, I'm like, I just kind of roll with it, let it fly off the, screw it, we'll do it live. Or, I got, in music terms, Tenacious D. I just let it all kind of come out. It just comes out as it comes out.
Let's see, Brady, I don't think I've talked to you yet. What do you think about the Markiplier as an actor in this movie?
I mean, I think he did great. Like I said, and like everybody has made comments so far tonight, is that there are moments where it's hard to see Mark and hard to tell where Mark begins and Simon ends, or but there are moments that made me feel like, when he gets upset when, like, the woman is telling him, like, I'm sorry, we can't bring you back. Like, he gets to a point where I seconds away from getting down on his hands and knees and begging. And I'm sitting there like, damn, I'm feeling the exact way that he feels. Like, I'd be doing the same thing, like in this, when he puts forth all of his emotion into something, he does it. He doesn't half-ass it. You feel what he's feeling. You feel horrible for him when he's bawling and, snot coming out of his nose because he's been told, sorry, you got to stay down there and, Kool-Aid Jaws world, like, you're not coming back. So, God, I need a t-shirt of that, please. But yeah. But I think he, like, he's a very charismatic kind of guy. Like, even people I know who aren't the biggest fans of him have been like, he is kind of fun to watch. He's fun to listen to. And even in this role, like, like Jeremy said, there's moments where he would say something. I'm like, yeah, that was Mark. And then he would say something another way. I'm like, no, that was Simon. Like the whole, like, have you even tested this thing? Like, I feel like that was a Mark kind of a thing. And again, when you're acting as a character from a video game where there's no dialogue at all from you in that game, or even thoughts. And what little dialogue there is coming from that speaker. And even then, they, added a shit ton more of that in this than there was in the game. So, you kind of have to, you've made this character. Yes, Simon is in the game, but Simon doesn't have much of a history other than some words that tells you, hey, this guy screwed up. He did a boom boom and now he's paying for it. Here we actually get to feel what, Simon did really do something bad. And it may not have been intentional. But he puts forth all of that feeling and emotion into this. So I think he did a great job as an actor.
Yeah, I got a lot of Glenn Powell vibes from him at times over the course of this movie. I was trying to find a quick picture of Glenn Powell, but I didn't pull it up. But there was a couple of times I was like, he does, like, maybe it was the way the light hit him. I was like, he looks a little bit like Glenn Powell. But yeah, he did very, very well, especially at the end of the movie where you have to emote so much, like because the frustration, everything that's been building up, it has to crack, and then when it has to get through at some point. And then when and then the blood is seeping in, he started to get taken over by whatever the hell is in the water or the blood or whatever. He, like, that whole thing, that transition from human being into monster can be very delicate. If it's not done right, it looks very cartoonish and silly. And I thought that he did that very, very well. It was a combination of his acting and some decent special effects, which I'm sure there was some CGI. But there was also, I would imagine he probably put a lot of practical shit into this as well, which practical effects are always the best effects. But yeah, I thought he did a fantastic job. Were you about to say something, Jeremy? Looked like you had a thought.
No, I had a thumb.
Okay.
Was,
yeah, I was really impressed. His chin right here is very pronounced. I don't know. I kind of giggled a little bit because me and my youngest son went and saw this Saturday or Sunday morning or something like that.
I just see Lord Farquaad.
Yeah, and no, I was thinking of that Family Guy gag where they're talking about Reese Witherspoon's chin, using it to open cans and stuff like that. But yeah, it kind of stuck out that far, and I was like, wow, he's got a very pronounced chin. But yeah, I thought as an actor, he did a fantastic job on this, and he does have a little bit of an acting background. I mean, I know you had mentioned it earlier, Brady, but he had done. Let me scroll down here and find it again. He was in Smoosh the movie, which I've never heard of until this very moment, where he has a cameo appearance as himself. He did some stuff, Heist with Markiplier and In Space with Markiplier, which I think that's the stuff that he did. It says he had a cameo appearance in the movie. I have never heard of that movie before today, so I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
There was a Smosh movie. I think
the movie.
Smosh.
Oh,
Smosh.
I forgot. Yeah, he did a Amazon Prime show, I think, as well. Like a really short.
In television, he did Gamer's Guide to Pretty Much Everything, where he has a guest role as himself. He was in a show called Villainous, which I guess is still running.
Oh, that's right.
And he was in he had a role in a television, I guess it was a television movie. That was a miniseries called The Edge of Sleep, where he plays a character named Dave. That was back in 2014. And then, of course, some web series stuff that he's done. He was in a music video by Bart Barker. The Wiggle Parody was the name of the song. I've never heard of it before today. And then obviously some podcasts, some video game stuff. He's been nominated for a bunch of stuff. So I mean, so this isn't like his first time out, but it's his first time carrying a very deep, very dense movie. I thought he did a really good job. I was actually kind of impressed with as good as he was in this as an actor. Yeah, if he's in more stuff, I'd be happy to see him. Like I said, there was a couple of times where I looked at him in the movie, I was like, he looks like Glenn Powell. Now, when I look at pictures of him on Wikipedia and stuff like that, he definitely does not look as much like Glenn Powell. Actually, the one with the long hair they've got on this Wikipedia page looks kind of like John Lennon with a little bit of Asian in him. But he's got the really long hair that goes down past his shoulders, so he's got a little bit of hippie thing going. But I thought as an actor, I thought he did very, very well. again, not a little bit of experience to draw off of, but I mean, when he turned it on, It was some good stuff. I mean, I look forward to seeing him in some other stuff. Now, Jeremy, I'm going to lean on you a lot for this one. Again, the game is pretty easy. There wasn't a whole lot. But, I mean, compare this movie to the game. Was there something, I mean, what was spot on and what was maybe something that deviated a little bit for you?
Like I said, it's the, hello, that's Fallout. I don't want that picture. I was looking at a picture, sorry. Like, that's Fallout. That's definitely different. That would be pretty funny if this screen popped up all of a sudden when his sub goes to shit. Yeah, like I said, the game has the basic premise of just, like I said, going where I have the map still. Yeah, the map, and you have the coordinates. You have these little boxes there to figure out where you're going, and they use the grid to obviously match up with the control panel to figure out where you're going, take a picture, and you work your way through it. You start from like the bottom left, I think, and then you just work your way up. And yeah, some stuff will happen along the way. You'll start getting, some proximity alerts. There's something that's definitely coming to rattle you up a little bit. And of course, the big, boom, jump scare, bigger fish, at the end. So pretty, I mean, I said pretty similar. It's still the, your convict put in there, basically kind of a Suicide Squad thing. Like, yeah, you're expendable. Here, you go explore the terrifying ocean. Which I think I actually have a picture. Yeah, a picture of like the title screen before it says Iron Lung. Like this kind of cool, almost like old school computer game looking, like with the sea of blood and the mountains and shit on this moon. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off. I was like, so there's land on this moon where they could actually land and maybe look around. They don't have to just focus on the blood ocean.
Well, I mean, you can see the land. I mean, you can always see land. It's like you don't know what's in the oceans. Like I said, we know more about our own fucking moon surface than we do our own oceans. So, like, exploring something like that is kind of a, you don't really know what's there past what you can see. And again, especially when it's blood that is, just that viscous and thick. That's why they use the X-ray, because you can't see, which is a cool way to, get around that aspect that you literally cannot see. Not only because there's no light, but it's not like it's water. But I mean, even water in the ocean, it gets dark, and there's all manner of crazy crap down there. So, yeah, I think pretty solid comparison for the game. It's a pretty straightforward premise. And again, it lends itself into being terrifying because you don't know what's outside those steel walls.
Yeah, I don't know how much you've played the game, Rachel. You and Jeremy much more in tune with the games than I am. I don't know how familiar you are with it. What did you think of just like comparing one to the other? Which one did you like the most?
That's a hard question. Which one I like the most? Man, threw me with that one. I think I like the movie better than I like the game. Just because there was more action to it, I think. In a way, there was more to consume. In a way, I guess that sounds kind of weird, but more to it, I guess. I think because you get to see into Simon's head more, probably why I like the movie more. You get to see what he's thinking, what he's feeling. So that's probably why I prefer the movie more over the game.
And Brady, how about you? I don't know exactly how familiar you are with the game, but I mean, you've obviously got some exposure through it through Jeremy the last couple of days, I'd imagine. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the game or the movie? Which one told the story better for you?
Definitely the movie. I've seen the lore video. I've seen him play. I've never seen anybody else play, but I've watched his playthrough of it, and I actually watched it before I left, just so I could get like a kind of, because I wanted to compare it while I was watching. Like, okay, is fresh in my mind. But definitely, I would say the movie, because the game gave us very little to go off of, other than, again, an opening screen, an opening title screen, and you get some words, kind of like they do with the Star Wars thing. You get an update and a visual update, and then now you get into the actual game itself. When it comes to that, he gave us a lot more that the game didn't. Yeah, we got some screenshots of some angry looking fish, and then in the movie we get very little of it, but we do get to see what I'm gonna assume is the big bad fish twice. We get to see it's very hard to see, but you do get to see it, and you get an idea of this this just thing. It's hard to even call it a fish, to be honest with you. I think it even had a name that the fan base gave it a name, and I think it was just called Fish. But yeah, that I would say that's what I thought the movie did far better than the game. It just brought a lot more to life than we got to see in the game.
Yeah, I after having watched a little bit of the gameplay after I saw the movie, I think I do prefer the movie more. For one, I mean, right here you can tell this game is not exactly Call of Duty or anything as far as the graphics are concerned. It's a pretty rudimentary game. I'm sure probably fun. I haven't played it myself, but I mean, graphics wise, it was not fantastic compared to some of the stuff that we play all the time. But yeah, I think I do prefer the movie more. I mean, I think in part because of Markiplier's performance. His performance was very good, and the claustrophobic nature of it all. I would imagine that comes across a lot harder. I think that comes across a lot better in the film than I think it probably would in the game. But yeah, I think I prefer the movie to the game as well. Again, only having watched gameplay of this video game one time. But let's get into some trivia now, because I did manage to find a couple of decent pieces of trivia. See, being an indie project, the film was only slated to show in 60 theaters originally, but shortly after the trailer released and blew up, the number grew to 1,500 plus trailers in just a matter of days. And that, of course, leads to a $21 million opening weekend. No, Jay, you surprised at that? I mean, again, I don't know what the popularity of the game really was. I mean, I've only really been exposed to it the last couple of weeks. But I mean, are you surprised that it blew up like that?
Well, no. I mean, when you have somebody that has like 1,300 million thousand fucking subscribers on YouTube, I mean,
that's a real number.
You know what I mean? Yes. You can quote me on that one. Apparently, you can't when it comes to a movie from Sam Raimi. But anyway, I think that's part of the reason is like, a lot of people like Mark. He's a well-known, well-liked YouTuber. So he kind of already has that built-in fan base that, if you tell them, hey, I'm going to make the movie out of this game, they're like, oh, shit. And we're going to show up in droves and go see this project that he's been. And again, if we watch him and we see, again, the passion I've been talking about, watching him, make this thing a reality. That's kind of what it is. I mean, want to go support him. And again, like I said, you can do a lot with not a lot at all. Like, so really with for $3 million, that's, Frank, you and I have talked about some big, even Brady, we've talked about some big ass numbers on this channel. Again, whatever number I just spat out there, for making one Marvel movie or whatever. And like, yeah, but now you have to make like 3 times that. But I mean, for $3 million and you already made 21 million back, like just in one weekend, like that's still a success. That's still pretty impressive for the scale that it's on. Again, it's competing with other like movies that are actually out right now, big studios and stuff. So no, I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, a lot of us fans are stupid. People tend to think that a movie has to make $1 billion to be good. No, a movie has to be good to be good. There's plenty of movies that I've seen that didn't do very well at the box office, that technically lost money and were considered bombs, but are actually fantastic movies. I mean, remember, Rocky Horror Picture Show is now a classic. It didn't do very well when it first got released. It got pushed to the midnight market real quick. Now it's one of the seminal movies of all times. So movies like Contact, which didn't do very well at all, hit secondary media, and all of a sudden it really just blew up. It became one of Jodie Foster's most popular films. A movie being profitable and making a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad. I mean, the last couple of Fast and Furious movies have made money and they're hot fucking garbage. I'm pretty sure I've shipped things that are better than those last 2 movies. But, whatever. Again, sometimes those fans can be kind of dumb. Jay, you mentioned it earlier. This movie now holds the world record for the most fake blood used in a movie at approximately 80,000 gallons, beating The Evil Dead from 2013's 70,000 gallons.
Hell yes. I mean, if you want to take a fucking bragging right, I mean, that's one to put up there on the shelf, put on the refrigerator so everybody can see it.
Well, that's what we need to do, Jay. We need to make a horror movie, and for no other reason than to use 100,000 gallons of fake blood so that we can have that record.
Yeah.
The movie will be terrible. It won't be worth watching at all, except that we're going to use 100,000 gallons of blood.
We're building up to this one scene, guys. We'll get
An
there.
hour and a half of one guy swimming in a pool of blood.
Yeah. Like we're gonna get a big fucking pool, put it in someone's backyard with blood.
That's the whole scene.
Yep, that's it. End scene.
Yeah.
Give me my Oscar.
Right.
But let's see.
Leonardo DiCaprio, who?
Who's this Titanic kid? Go away with your boat, moron. Sailing into an iceberg, dipshit. Let's see. The story of SCP-345, the Blood Lake, from the official SCP Wiki site is what originally inspired this entire game, which inspired the movie.
I'm not surprised it's a creepypasta, or not creepypasta, but like one of the containment breach things. Yeah. It's one of those wild stories. I kind of forgot it was one of the SCPs. Yeah. Those are fun.
Cool creepypasta stuff.
Yeah, I think Mark even did was it SCP containment breach? You want to talk about creepy fucking monsters in a fucking secret underground lab? Go watch that. There's some cool SCPs out there.
Let's see. One of the main musical motifs in the film was created by using a Theragun on a large sheet of metal. That's how you get some good sounds.
Yeah. Like I said, Rick Baker, who?
Yeah, there's a reason guys like Rick Baker and stuff are geniuses. This was sound design more than makeup, but I mean, if you can go find a lot of videos on YouTube about how they come up with sounds. Like, what was it? Brady, wasn't it one of the animals from Jurassic Park? Didn't they have a camel burping or some other shit synthesized in with something else to make one of the animals growl? Oh, yeah. It's like, so, and if you listen to it, you just think, oh, it's a dinosaur growling. You don't understand that we don't actually have real audio recordings of dinosaurs growling, so you kind of have to make it up with a bunch of other shit.
You get some iconic sounds, and I think that was something that was really good. Was none of the sounds that you hear in this movie are something that you can go, oh, that's this. There's only so many times you can hear a monster and go, hey, that's the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, or that's Godzilla. In this one, you hear something, you're like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Otherworldly. And I mean, that's where another thing was like the sound design, honestly, or the sound work was super cool. Like, there was so many times that I'm like, one, you're underwater, and if you hear sounds like that anyway, you hear the sounds of, the compression and all that stuff, which is normal. Unless you're in that sub that the Titanic people went into and then it exploded. But I was trying not to make that joke. Everything rattle, and then you just get these deep guttural sounds, and I'm like, I can't. There's moments I was like, I can't even tell if that was like a whale or not. Like, just that I loved, and I would love to know more about how those were made, because some of the time, you could like Frank was saying, you could have a camel farting, and then sit on the computer for a few hours and be like, I now have the most iconic dinosaur sound effect known to man. Here, Lucasfilms, buy this. But it's just like I loved it. That was one of the things I loved the most, because in my opinion, and I think I've said this before, or I may have said it before, I don't know. A monster can only be as good as it's as it sounds. You can have this giant monster, but if it just sounds like a chicken, I'm gonna be like, what the hell am I listening to? Or, when they're, I always love those, this is what T-Rex really sounded like. And it's just, I'm like, really, guys? What are you doing? But that's where I'm just like, if you have something that looks that way, you get a face to this thing, and you're like, oh, that thing's terrifying. And then you hear that, and you're like, yup, equally as terrifying. I can totally see that coming out of that thing. So he did really good with that.
Yeah, I've got a good dinosaur roar here. I haven't played Brady's intro in a while.
Oh,
Goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Just like me.
Where's the film? You want to buy our stuff? Industrial Sound of Light? Sound of Magic? Yeah. Come on.
Let's see. One more piece of trivia. This is an Easter egg. I'm not sure if you're aware of this one or not, Jay. But this one does go back to the game. In the game the film is based on, there is a hidden Easter egg that changes every texture to a photo of Markiplier's face.
I'm not even shocked, honestly.
I guess. I mean,
I love that. I'm not even mad.
I wonder if I can find that real quick.
Speaking of like Easter eggs, that like computer that he was on, and he had to like download all this stuff. Was that a bowling game or something? Because like they just took like a kiosk for a bowling game.
I was getting like Fallout New Vegas vibes because I'm like the glitchy screen and like that yellow orange
but like
tone.
there was,
That's what
like,
I was getting.
In order to change the photos, there was this ball, and he's
the little roller
and
ball.
I'm like, is that a bowling game from an arcade that you guys just repurposed? Because I mean, it's perfect, it's fine, but I was just sitting there the whole time, like where my brain goes as I'm eating my dots, like. Is that a bowling game? Like,
well, I guess it's like it's easier than like if your sub suddenly whoop shifts like where'd the damn mouse go? Shit, it's like integrated into the thing. That kind of makes sense. I guess.
There was a little bit.
Or one of those golf games where you
you
pretend like you're playing golf and you hit the thing and it
Hey,
spins.
okay, yeah. There was one thing about that really confused me, and I don't know if it's just me or if they explained it, but he had the necklace. There was like a really big focus on this necklace. And he's like, I'm sorry, brother. So it belonged to either like a friend that he's referring to his brother or his actual brother. But do they like...
Tim is in this movie?
did they at all address that any further? Like, why was the necklace inside the machine or anything like that?
I thought it was from one of the past people that may have done this, and I thought like I kept trying to see what it was, and I'm like, was it? They keep going back to that tree, that last tree that existed. I'm like, is it like a leaf from that tree, and they all made these little necklaces because they were all kind of in that religion, or they were all together in that thing. So I thought, was that what it was? And it was from one of his other like brothers that were in that like clan. That's what I thought it was,
because there was a guy's voice that they kept using for certain things, and I was like, okay, did he like? And I don't even think they really even addressed what he actually did at that station. Like, did he blow it? Like, it obviously blew up because that guy turned and yelled at him and then got engulfed by flames. But like, was he part of like a group of people that were trying to like,
or they tried to do something? He tried to stop it, and he was the only one left standing. They're like, "You did it!" It's like, "God damn it!"
Yeah,
I cannot find a video of that Easter egg on YouTube. There's a video with some other ones that, as I take a quick look at them, don't seem very important, or not very cool anyway. But yeah, there's no video that shows you actually doing some kind of a trick to make Markiplier's face appear everywhere. So that may or may not be true. But IMDb's trivia section has fooled me in the past. So
if I find it, I can look. If I find it, I'll send it your way.
I was kind of hoping for a 5 Nights at Freddy's joke, like one time, like when Mark hits the fucking button, all of a sudden Freddy just pops up on the screen on the side of the sub. That would have been pretty funny.
Oh my god,
that'd be great.
There's
animatronic bears down here and shit.
Yeah, it says unmarked anomaly 1, and then it says unmarked anomaly 2, the howling monolith. I don't know what that is. And then there's a secret mini game apparently.
Of course.
It says look through the files of the game to find a hidden mini game located at Steam/Steam map / whatever. I'm not going to go through all that.
Somebody's found it up.
The mini game. Honestly, it looks like an old version of Asteroids from like the early Atari days.
Ooh.
Which I'm down with. I played the hell out of the game when I was like 7. I could do. Yeah, I was there, man. I've seen some things, man, and some stuff.
Right. I've seen some pixels, man, some blocks.
I remember when video games were 2 dimensions, man. You don't know. You weren't there.
I saw Laura Croft's triangles. Don't you dare tell me I didn't see that.
Those were pyramids, god damn it.
Those pyramid titties. Before they gave her form and coated her up all nice.
What the hell?
But
Not my Laura Croft.
that's a good place to start wrapping up this review. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. I'll start with you, Jay. Give me your final thoughts on Iron Lung, Markiplier's first big foyer into the world of film.
Yeah. That's a good movie. Good, I think it's a good slow burn. Sometimes a little slow, but like I said, it got there, and when it did get there, holy crap! Like I said, that third act, those practical effects. Like I said, some of that, him peeling off those bandages, and then the blood leaking onto his head and all of his arms, and just eating him alive, and it just goes sideways to shit real fast. Bunch of blood. He loses his arm. Man, spoilers, but. Yeah, so I think pretty solid adaptation. I guess that age-old question we always ask of like making movies out of video games, and I would say this is again in the camp of a better adaptation than we have seen in some forms. We've teetered back and forth, but hey, if anyone saw that second trailer for the second Super Mario movie, again, that one will also be pretty solid. We're getting our way back, so yeah. I think it was pretty cool again for a first time out. A good solid attempt, and I'm excited because I wonder, like we were talking about, if he wants to do more, I would definitely be curious to see where he goes from here. So I'm excited.
See, Tex decided to chime in. Said Whisper starring Daphne Keane and Stranger 3 comes out this week. Both look good. I've heard a lot of people smashing the new Strangers movies. I haven't seen them yet, but I've heard a lot of people kind of beating up on them. I'm not sure about Whisper. Have I seen that trailer? I don't know yet. I'll look at the trailer to find out. But I don't know. Rachel, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on Iron Lung.
Really enjoyed it. It was a good movie. Like Jeremy said, it was a little bit of a slow burn, but once you got there, it really took off. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I would recommend it. I've enjoyed watching Mark over the years, and I'm really enjoyed his movie.
Brady, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on Iron Lung.
I like to compare this to a big meal. Breakfast was good. Lunch was Dinner was fan-fucking-tastic. A really good finale for the end of a film. And it just, like, that ride went off the rails and you don't know where the hell it's going to land. I'm interested to see if there's going to be a DVD sale for this. Like, is this going to be a physical release so that people who didn't get to go to the theaters can see it? I think for Mark's first in-theater production, I think it took off fairly well. So I'm excited to see where things go from here.
Yeah, overall, I think this movie's good. It once he finally finds his stride later in the movie, Markiplier does great. I mean, like I said, the third act of this movie is phenomenal. I think it's fantastic. The first part, like I said, it's some growing pains for a guy who's, for the first time been totally in control of making a film. So I give him a little bit of grace because overall, his acting from start to finish was very good. The set design is fantastic. The atmosphere is fantastic. The claustrophobia that you feel is great. There was just some story elements that should have been put in the first half of the film to help kind of push it along. But if you can get through that first part, which is sometimes painfully droll, because there were times where I was kind of like, God, somebody just something bite through this damn sub so I can get out of here, please, so we can get to the action part of the movie. If you get past that, you're going to get to a third act that is phenomenal. It's just great. Markiplier is a very good actor. He's a very promising writer and director. He needs some growth. I said the same thing on Damien Leone. It reminds me, since Texas in the chat now. The first Terrifier, I thought was fun. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought it wasn't a lot of storytelling. Second Terrifier is when he really goes into great storytelling. That movie explodes with awesomeness. I mean, that is a huge step up. I'm interested to see what the next step for Markiplier is going to be. Like, on that note, if he's going to learn the lessons from this movie and say, okay, next time I go out, I'm going to do this a little bit differently, and here's what it is. And I have a feeling that his next effort is going to be something that's going to be markedly better. I don't think there's any reason why we can't expect that. Because he knows what he's doing. He's told some stories. He's got a certain amount of popularity from having 11 billion YouTube subscribers and viewers and whatnot. So he's already got a fan base. Now he's just got to concentrate on learning how to tell great stories. And I think he's off to a good start so far. This movie is actually, I think it's worth going to see in theater just because movies like this should always be experienced in a theater, especially once you get into some of the really cool. I didn't even use this shot, which I think is the money shot of the entire film. I like there are some visuals in here that need to be seen on a big screen. I think it's going to help them a lot, and especially like when you're seeing like the X-rays and stuff like that, and him covered in blood and all the crazy like weird stuff that is going on while he's having his little visions and stuff towards the end when the movie gets really good. Like those need to be experienced on the big screen. So go see this in theaters if you have a chance. If not, watch it at home when it comes out on streaming or physical media or whatever. I think you'll enjoy it. I think it's a fantastic film. Again, I'm expecting good growth from Markiplier in the future, and I'm looking forward to see what he does next. There is nothing listed that I could tell that he's got up next. Let me see. Yeah, his filmography doesn't have anything coming up. Sometimes they will have these things in here, like upcoming projects. There is absolutely nothing on here, so hopefully he's got something in the works because I'd like to see what he does next. But thanks to my crew for being so awesome as always. Starting with the Brooding Gamer. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I'm not as big on my YouTube channel as much as I used to be. Brooding Gamer has now evolved to more of just recording my life with occasional Jurassic Parkness in there. Not sure how long that'll go on for, and if I ever decide to revert back, because that's what's working. But if you decide to join me in my occasional weird escapades of running out in the snow and being wheezy, you are welcome to find me at my channel, Beyond Brady.
Sorry.
Yeah, he got a cable fart going on just then. Let's see, we got Rachel, Jeremy's better half. Where can the folks at home find you, dear?
Yes, I'm on TikTok at Tinseptum. You can see basically makeup transition videos for SFX, special effects, makeup, Halloween haunt makeup, stuff like that. And that's where you can find me.
And my hetero life mate, Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
God, these people make me sound so boring.
Jesus. Well, no, I act like I don't do this show every, twice a week. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays going over whatever nonsense we go over. I believe the next thing will be Fallout on Thursday, which is the season finale. And holy crap, I am beyond ready. Excuse me, good Lord. I'm also kind of watching Bethesda's website because they have that little countdown, the little Fallout map, and their little countdown with, I think we're down to the last couple hours. So I think something's going to coincide with this. Yeah, we've been watching this damn site, this Fallout map with a little blip on the map somewhere. It just has a countdown, and I think it's going to coincide with the show ending. And even though it's, it's a shadow drop, we're not going to know when it happens, even though they've flat out said it in our face. We think that might be some remasters of 3 in New Vegas, but...
Well, they just dropped that trailer, too, of Maximus and Vault Boy playing the video games. It was like a little...
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I posted that in the group chat of him.
Okay,
It's funny.
That's okay, because something wasn't loading, and that's what I didn't see. Okay.
Please send me a link to that, because now I'm extremely intrigued.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to find. I know. One of my friends has it. Yeah. So I'm sure I may not post anything about it, and I'll just be excited in my own little corner of the world about it. So. You may not see me for a few months. I'll be underground in my own vault playing this game, and you'll just be able to hear from me again. Yeah, I'll be. Oh, Firefly. You didn't even have a chance. But we love you.
As for me, as Jeremy said, you will find us back here in a couple days to break down episode 8, the last episode of season 2 of Fallout. This has been a very intriguing season. A whole lot of crazy shit's going on, and season 2 will wrap up. I think it comes out tomorrow, Jay. I think they're releasing this episode a day early. So
today.
Today. Well, even better. So I'll be able to watch it as soon as I get home tomorrow. But yeah, so we'll definitely watch that tomorrow. Get everything set up, and we'll be back here to break it all down on Thursday. Fallout Episode 8, The Strip, and we're gonna see if my conclusion, my guess was right. If it ends on a cliffhanger of the ghoul opening his wife's vault and maybe her getting a look at him in his new form of being noseless, very Red Skull looking, radiated chaos. That's going to be interesting to see if my prediction is right. Even if I'm wrong, I have a feeling it's going to be a banger of an episode because I think every episode, every episode of this season has been pretty good on its own. So I am really excited about that. Thanks to my co-host for coming on here and being so awesome as always. Don't forget to go check out 10 Septum and Brady. Links in the description below. We will catch you guys on Thursday to break down the last episode of Fallout. Adios. You know what the song? You know what this could have used? Could have used some Sam Elliott. That's what this movie could have used. Could have used some, whatever. Whatever cool people. Yeah, I've actually been catching up on Landman and Sam Elliott, and I actually just watched the last episode the other day. Yeah, we need more Sam Elliott.
Hey, anything Sam Elliott is good.
Never
I keep seeing Tombstone clips, and I'm like, oh, I just want to watch the movie again.
Hells yeah. So, does this have a sequel? You guys think? Is there a sequel in this movie? We almost always ask that about the movies. I thought this ending didn't really warrant it, but I mean, come on.
There's a sequel to the game? Maybe. I don't know.
It's Hollywood. There's a sequel for everything. They're going to call it Iron Lung 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's what they're going to call it.
Shared universe or something. I don't know.
Bring your fishing boats.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the blood water.
God damn. This time it's really personal.
This time it's more bloody.
More blood, more
Shark still looks fake.
Bye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.